Hello and welcome to the Hyperline episode number 5, working title The Blank Slate. We are back once again to talk about everything that's going on in the Deadlock universe, as well as talk about all the heroes, talk about patches that have been dropping, which is a little bit a while ago, of course, as it appeared right after we just dropped the previous episode, because of course it was a crazy time with that 3.5-hour episode on episode number 4. My name is Kaelaris, and joining me as always, I have the dashing, the ever so effervescent Mr. Jaeben. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Yeah, feeling good.
And of course, the ever interesting hairstyled blank Xander Padwick. How are you doing?
I'm good, yeah. No, I've got my old hairstyle back. It's back again. Back to, I think it's a nice colour this time. It turned out well.
I'm just gonna throw off some fans, because I've had people be like, "Oh, blank, isn't he the blonde one?" And then you were never blonde any of the episodes, and now you're the blonde one again.
I'm the blonde one again.
It's gonna throw everybody off.
I mean,
Yeah,
between episode 4 and 5, or halfway through 4 and 5, we've all had our hair done. So let's just
Yeah,
turn it into a hairstyle podcast.
Let's not say between 4 and 5. Some of them were during 4. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
She came in, I was like, whoa. Anyway, all right, let's talk about the stuff that's been going on. I said I was going to share my screen, I did say that, and you know what? I'm going to do it on the fly. It's a real thing. Pressing the am I going to screw up your overlays?
But we couldn't find it, so we had to leave it all in.
Share the screen. Share the screen. Ta-da!
There we go. Perfect.
Okay. All right.
It's in a good spot now. Perfect. Brilliant.
That actually went much quicker than I thought it was gonna. I'm gonna be real.
No,
all right.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Thank you. So we obviously had a bit of a patch, again, 8 days ago now, but of course we haven't really had a chance to talk about it. It was just after we'd released our previous episode, of course. So right off the bat, blank, any things that really kind of strike you from this patch? I won't start going through everything just yet, and maybe we can get a little bit of a feel and then maybe go through some things.
Yeah, I think Base Guardians HP reduced from 5.5 to 4K is a big one. Me and Jaeben both had strong feelings about this. I think the Base Guardians are really hard to siege at the moment. A lot of games you have where you kind of stood around doing nothing a lot of times because you weren't sure whether it was time to push the base or not. This makes it a little bit easier where you can actually push up. And I found like you want to play Paradox and you've got the damage amp on the bomb. It's really easy to take now. And also having the fact that you get yourself Super Troopers, having less of a 15% less bounty as well, does mean that if you do lose those Base Guardians, there is that slight like compensation that if you take a shrine after that, it's not as bad for your team.
Mm-hmm. It sort of feels like it assisted in terms of what felt like a push towards quicker games a little bit, and obviously now as well with the zipline change, Jaeben, where you're like, okay, I'm right in the opponent's face as well. If you actually get opportunity to push down that far, it's speeding things up a little bit. It feels.
Yeah, I'd say there's been times it's felt good. I think it's still, they haven't really fully captured the essence of it, right? Where like it feels like each shrine should be an objective and you push it and get a shrine. I still feel like most games, it's like same kind of flow. You walk in, you clear both shrines. It feels like they haven't really managed to break away from that, but it's getting closer. I will say, I think Super Troopers this patch feel like they're in a really good state. Like, yeah, I think not getting the gold, right, like the increased soul count or anything, like the push is brutal, and yeah, you don't even feel like you get that, like, you're not getting anything positive out of it being the defending team, right? So I've definitely felt like if you do lose shrines, like it hurts, like you are always in your base, like there's nothing coming from it, and that's good. I think that's how it should feel. So I do think like that's much better, a much better state in general. Now, like the individual shrine taking, I just think that still needs to be emphasized a little bit more, like getting these windows to get shrines. I don't really know what they could do, though. I don't know if it's like maybe making the base a little less open, like making it a little bit more like these like isolated kind of thirds. So it feels like you have a fight in the shrine area rather than like you're in the whole base, Maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe mess with that or something. I don't know. I'm trying to come with more ideas because I think they've had a lot of good ones. I think a lot of the things they've implemented have made sense. It just still feels like, you don't feel like, oh, I want to fight, let's go get a shrine, It feels like that's still too big an ask.
I think that the big thing that I think take away from that as well is that the 2/3 that you're talking about, it makes a lot of sense. It'd be fun to do, what I find is that the patron pit takes up so much space, and I get why they do it as well, because they've got the Hidden King. He's huge. He looks cool. Archmother the exact same. But there's a lot of real estate like allocated to what is basically a cosmetical effect inside the base. And I feel like maybe they could reduce on that a little bit.
I think it's an interesting idea, because you were saying, you know, the base is still open, and I feel like it's very open as well, is that when you're stuck inside your base because pressure's been put on you, it feels like kind of the Dota 2 style, where suddenly you're being pushed in and it's very difficult to get out of your base. But in Deadlock, the bases feel so cavernous, because you've not just got the motion of being able to move around on a single plane. You're being able to just dive around, moving everywhere. So in Deadlock, it's a whole other thing that has not really existed truly in MOBA quite this way. So it's an interesting take, and something that I guess we'll see down the line. One thing that I do want to move on to quickly here in the patch notes was the hero base health, as well as hero health increase growth, are vastly up compared to where they were, including vitality changes on the bonuses that you get from those items. Now, this clearly feels like a huge move on the time to kill, right? Like increasing that time as it does go. I don't know how much it's occurred relative to the amount of damage that's currently in the game, Jaeben, but I'm feeling like I've got more health. I just don't know if I'd survive as long.
I feel like that's what I feel, right? It's like, wow, we have so much more health now, in theory, especially when you read these again, right? You're like, whoa, 40 base health, +4 flat, sorry, 8% increase, like 12% increase from green investment. Like, that feels like it should add up to a lot. And I still feel like I'm pretty squishy. Like, a lot of these characters, you are dying really fast. So how bad was it before? Pretty bad, I think. Obviously, like, good changes in principle, but yeah, I still feel like the damage in the game is so much higher than it even was like a month and a half ago, you know? Like, absolutely skyrocketed.
Yeah, I always think that for this, because they've done this in the past as well. I think around about maybe even 8 months ago. I don't think it was too long ago, but they were increasing hero health overall, and we did get to that silly state where you had people on like 6k, 5k HP towards the end of the game. I mean, Abrams was very often like on a 5.5k health point. I mean, even on Paradox now, I can reach 4k quite easily late game, which also feels crazy for the amount of damage that she does. But I always thought it was like a band-aid fix to, we have over buffed a lot of characters doing extreme amount of damage in a short base of time. But because, like you say, it's a blanket buff to everyone, this is like the much easier fix in the meantime. And I guess this is also an easier way for them to gather data, as opposed to being like, we're going to tweak this. We'll just add everyone a little bit of health. And this is like our band-aid fix until we can figure out what's going on with the rest of the roster. Because I don't know, I feel like this has never fixed the problem fully, but this at least makes the game playable in the interim.
That's a funny way to say it, because okay, so in your opinions, well, I mean, Blank, you've been playing this game for even before it was just like really a thing in the public view, but like, is this the most experimental the game has ever felt in the history of the game?
Yes, I would say so. I would definitely say so. I think that I think this is the most sweeping amount of changes we've ever had for the entirety of the roster, and not even the case. I don't know if you'd agree with this, Jim, but it's not even a case of like, we've bumped some numbers here up in here or there. We're changing whole abilities, whole kits, and some of it just hasn't worked. Some of it is just like, wow, this character's really annoying now.
Get out of here, Wraith.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think it's a good thing. But I also think that for the guys over on the Valve team, there has been a lot of things that they've refused to touch in the past, and they're finally being like, right, we maybe need to look at this. I mean, Goo Cube got changed, Wall had got changed from McGinnis. Those two things had not been touched in a long, long while.
Jaeben?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we were saying when we first saw the scope of it, right? Even before we like broke it down and started talking about it, we were like, this is like Dota 2 style. You know, Dota 2 nowadays, it feels like it's like 1 or 2 patches a year that hit everybody, and that's it. Like, the rest of the time, it's just like whatever, you know, +1 armor. But this patch was like crazy. Like, yeah, it is just so sweeping. And yeah, I don't think we've had there's definitely been patches where it feels like a lot of numbers get moved around, but to this scale where it's like whole abilities get redesigned, like, you know, complete talent changes essentially, like for the upgrades of the you know, there's a brand new tier 5 upgrade, you know, you've never seen it before. It's completely changing how the ability works. So stuff like this, right? For some characters, it is a crazy sweep. But you know, I think that what does confuse me the most is just that, like, it's more. It doesn't feel like it's those changes per se. A lot of them feel fairly straightforward. It's just like the overall game feel like it changed a lot. The damage got way higher, but it didn't feel like it was like we injected a bunch of damage into all these upgrades, right? That's what I think feels particularly strange. Is like if you showed me those patch notes and you know, you were like, oh, what's going to be broken on this patch? I wouldn't necessarily. I could say like things look strong, but I don't think I would predict, like, because it doesn't even necessarily feel like it's one character alone on this patch, right? It's a lot of characters are doing a metric ton of damage, right? Like a lot of characters are like insanely tanky, right? Like it feels like so many changes happened and so many characters benefited that the game is just way more volatile, you know, and it's very strange.
Yeah, so much so that we're not only seeing it in our games, we've seen it in the esports scene a little bit as well, right? Where night on night, from one night to another, you saw some big shifts in what was being picked, what was all of a sudden coming along. Again, Wraith was kind of like a really big one, obviously because of the sheer damage that they was putting out with cards. If you somehow had more jokers saved up, then goodbye your entire team for a little while. It was brutal. But anyway, we can move on from that notion, that idea, because that was just us talking about the health and kind of going off tangents off the back of that. Of course, Golden Goose has been moved a little bit around and stuff like that. Golden Goose Egg and Vortex Web. Anything to talk about this?
Egg meta back?
All eggs.
All eggs.
All egg build.
I mean, Ismail has a funny build currently where it's like it's just duplicates of eggs. All your eggs in one basket. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Finally.
But I think the thing with egg right now is that the egg heads in the old kitchen, they've been figuring this item out, and it is quite good. And I think that the way I see this item should be used is exactly as Lightbringer mentioned, because he did a stream recently. He was going over it. It's like you buy egg, you sell it 10 minutes. If you still think you need egg, you buy it again, you sell it at 30 minutes. And that's when you can start to pop off again. It's like those YouTube time frames. It's like, I sell egg, I get the buffs, I'm a little bit stronger, I have a bit more money at 10 minutes, I rebuy it after I got a little bit of spike, and then I sell again at 30. I think that's fine. Problem is that people have started saving up a lot of money, and now that they have all that money, they are just selling and buying and selling and buying and selling and buying the egg. Really putting that quick buy and quick sell to good work. Because with that, they're gaining a ridiculous amount of booms. I've seen Rems with 6k HP, 500 spirit on Grey Talon. There's stuff like this, which is absolutely insane. I don't, and I think that some of the conversations around that is like, this is emergent gameplay. And I'm like, is it? Is it really?
Very exciting emergent gameplay.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of Deadlock and a lot of the devs over at Deadlock, they have been quite good about that stuff. I mean, edge boosting, corner boosting, all that stuff still in the game because it is cool. But it's not game breaking. I think that is game breaking, that someone saved up to the point where now that they are literally a walking tank and they have 5 slots still open to fill is very silly.
Definitely not exactly what I expected from the egg, but that's
expected. I like it.
There you go. There you go.
Whoa! There's a title, Blank's Eggspectation. Whoa! Name drop.
Him carrying a big egg. Be like, oh, why can't I hold all these eggs? All right. Vortex Web was changed a little bit. Now you have to alt cast to put it on a target. I don't mind this change because the way items snap onto people, sometimes I was like, oh yeah, I want to use it here and drag this person, but I'm like just slightly close to them, and then all of a sudden it snaps onto them, and I'm like, it's done nothing. Brilliant. Yeah. So I like that change as a whole. Obviously, it is working quite heavily with some very potent AoE.
Hey, I do like that change though, because I think that rather than removing that, I think Vortex Web desperately needs this, because sometimes when you bought Vortex Web, it felt like you lost some of the usability of slowing hex. where slowing Hex beforehand, you could just put it on someone, it would travel to them no matter where they went, and they would slow down. With Vortex Web, in this case, you could sometimes miss that. But like you say, at the same time, you do want to be able to throw slowing Vortex Web down to drag people to certain locations, pull them back into your team, pull them back into abilities you use. But sometimes you just want to use it like slowing Hex. So I do appreciate that they realized that quite quickly.
And of course, use it with Abrams' big old slam. I haven't seen much of it yet, but Jaeben was on the money. I want to see some of that alongside the Phantom Strike. Anyway, whatever.
They're going to be doing it. Vortex Abrams. It's the new build.
Yeah,
Vortex
Phantom Strike.
Oh, no, we don't need to talk about Door, man. Blank loves Door. Anyway, let's move on to Quick Apollo for all of this. Flawless Advanced Tier 3 now also increases Apollo's attack, lunge, speed. Any thoughts, Mr. Jaeben, or are we just...
Nothing to say, really. I think Apollo's kind of in the same position. Didn't really get too much from these changes. Obviously, it was very new, the big sweeping patch. So I still think feels the same. Very difficult to kind of pull off. Doesn't scale very well. Feels like he's like squishier than ever because everyone does more damage. So it's like even tighter than it was before. I feel like at least we went from seeing Apollo every game pretty much because somebody wanted to make it work to like I maybe see him like once a day now. Somebody's like, I'll give it a try. Like,
have you felt anything of the Itani Losan kind of change in damage? Does it do more damage to you late game, or are you feeling like it's kind of still Itani Losan?
I feel like the ranges feel pretty much the same, right? I haven't felt that it does drastically more. It did get a pretty significant scaling buff. I just think it's like the problem is him getting people to that range, right? Not killing them when they're low. He was always able to do that. It's just like the opening fight is very out of his control. He might win more in a fight that you're winning anyway. You know, if you get a huge lash shot and you Itani Losan over it, yay! But that wasn't Apollo doing that, right? That was Lash getting a huge lash shot. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
You can't see him right now as like sort of a worse Celeste, because he's very hard to track down. Especially if he wants to get away from me, he probably is, and it's a good one will always get away from me. He can waste a ton of time. I think that's what I quite like about him, while staying very healthy, using riposte, using his Flawless Advance to like get to higher locations on the map. I think he's like you play in like a Hornet almost. You come in, do a little bit of sting damage, and you get out of the way, which is cool. But I think he's just gone, dude. He's left.
Yeah.
He's out of here.
You can hear from the distance.
Fix my lighting. Sorry, you were talking. I figured it was.
No, it's all good.
He was trying to be the Hornet. He was trying to be Apollo, like dancing around.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think he's still good. I think it's like a frontline initiator, and then just overall he doesn't die. And then you can waste a lot of time on that. I think that is a cool playstyle that he has. I don't think he is a carry by any stretch of the word. I think he's in a fine spot. I think actually out of most of the characters, he's probably one of the more well balanced ones at the moment. He's where I'd want to see a spirit character balance, is that from like minute 5 to around about 25, he does a lot of damage, can get a lot done, and then late game becomes more of that nuisance character. That's good.
Sure. All right, well, let's move on then to Calico, which actually we can tie in with a topic that we were maybe gonna like talk about later on. But let's take a look at these, which are technically some nerfs here and there to Calico that did come in. But I have the question that I must pose: is Calico still a problem? I think we'll come to Jaeben first to get things going here, because she seems quite strong still, despite this 8 days ago.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, I do think she's oppressive, especially in like a solo environment. Don't get me wrong, like a pub kind of level. I don't really feel like she's been dominating the pro games that much, right? Like, I do feel like it's kind of like assassin character in uncoordinated environment benefits a lot, right? If she snowballs, she does a lot. But she kind of did that before. I do think the main things, people started abusing like the melee items quite a lot on her. Obviously, she benefits from stuff like close quarters now, I think, on the leaping slash, stuff like this. Like, there's a lot of ways to like kind of abuse the new scaling life strike and have a lot more sustain and stuff like this. So I think that's kind of the main thing people have started doing. But I don't know. I do think, assassin is annoying in pubs, but I don't think she's like incredibly oppressive. I do think these nerfs definitely hit her a bit. I think the T2 leaping slash nerf slowed down that like aggressive soul scaling if you are getting a bunch of kills. I think that is honestly the main factor, is like most characters, you go 10-0 in lane, and at some point you're just not getting that many souls. Calico is pretty much always getting, most of a kill's worth of souls, at least, with the leaping slash, because it's like a 4-second buff. It's borderline impossible, I think, to not get the souls collected as Calico. You have to be trying really hard.
Yeah.
So she is kind of always getting more value when she is like stomping a lane. So that is like one thing to keep in mind, and it begs the question: like, did we need to add this? I still don't really know the answer to that, but I think past that, I don't think she's too bad.
Mr. Blank.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I don't really like about Calico is the problem with a lot of the cast right now, and I think it's what Valve is struggling to do is like figuring out characters' identities, because they didn't change any of her stat scaling, right? And she originally was a bruiser. She was like a bruiser / assassin. And then I think that they pushed her far more into the assassin category, but didn't touch any of her bruiser stats, so she gets tanky quite quickly. And like you say, once she gets ahead, it's very hard to shut it down. I mean, you knew before, like if a lane lost to Grey Talon and say a Yamato, like those characters are going to be a problem. It's not too bad. But if they lose to a Calico, it's like, well, we can't really kill the Calico. She's very tanky. And also she's doing like 3/4 of my health in a single rotation. And I think she does spiral the game out of control. So I do think it's a case where maybe they need to reduce some of the stat weighting in certain areas and then increase them in other areas. So I think it's absolutely fine to have her as an assassin. But I think that she should be firmly planted in that category, as opposed to, remaining very, very strong as a frontliner, as well as doing a ton of damage. I just think it's like misidentification of that character right now.
I find it funny because now that Return to Shadows has like that vertical component where she can just like, you're in the middle of a fight with her and she'll pop it late. And she just disappears like a squid over a hill. Like, it's like, where are you going? Hey, come back.
Squid over a hill. That was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah. I feel like whenever she does it, she's got like a little tentacles wriggling about and she just disappears.
Yeah, okay.
If I'm thinking about the squid people, I'm thinking about those squid people from Helldivers too. Anyway, never mind. They're not swimming, guys. Right, so let's move on then from good old Calico. Celeste, I will pose the same question. Is Celeste still a problem? Because there were some nerfs going on here and there, but she's still very strong, it feels, Blank, from all of this.
Yeah, still insanely strong. I played with and against the guy called Greater Crane Rat, which only made it worse.
Cane Rat, I think.
Okay.
No, really
like cane sugar.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that was a problem. There's really a problem because she won her lane so hard, and then pushed Walker, and then we could do nothing. Well, the enemy team could do nothing in the game I played. I was just a bystander, essentially. I was just observing as this all went down, as she 1v6 the lobby. And then I queued again. Lo and behold, I'm playing against her now, and I also got Ruffle Stomped.
I watched this one. It was fun.
I checked the stats. I can't tell if this account was getting boosted or not, because it was all very normal win rates everywhere else. And then it went to Celeste, and it was like 11 games played, 100% win rate. So I don't know where that happened. I think maybe the account was getting boosted. I'm not sure. Or he was just like, he just started playing Celeste and was like, wow, I really know how to play this character. I'm locked in. Either way, though, I do think that Celeste is a weird one where if a player who is good on her is on the character, she can just take over the entire lobby. But the difference is so wide in margin between piloting of Celeste that you don't see that all that often. Sometimes you play against Celeste and she's non-existent in your games. You play against Celeste who's good and it's like, wow, that she is the whole game.
Jaeben?
I'd say at least the main thing for me is that she's been nerfed enough that the average player goes, I don't want to play that. And that's good enough for me. Like, that's all I need. I just need to not see her every game running me down. I just need to see her, like, 1 in every 3 games. The guy's playing us pretty good. You got to deal with her. But at least she's not everywhere, everywhere, every time, all at once. Sure. you get a little break. Like, that's nice. I do think, I think she's probably still strong, but it is reaching a point where, you do kind of have to have an understanding. You have to pick your timings. You have to play her on your cooldowns, right? It's like a little bit less face roll. I think that's where you want her. So I'm pretty happy with how she is now.
I think, Blank, you're just underestimating the power of a Greater Cane Rat. Like,
I think I am. Maybe I am. Maybe he or she was just insane in the game, and I just need to figure it out, dude. I just need to figure it out because I was playing Viscos trying to learn. I just watched Goober, the VOD of him versus Melecris, and I was trying to learn all Viscos. That was going terribly, honestly.
Straight bouncing on it.
Straight bouncing on it, dude. But yeah, I was sort of a bystander in both those matches. I don't think I did too much.
Yeah,
I need to get good.
Okay, fair play. Let's move on to Blank's favorite hero, Doorman, who had his call bell changed, of course. I like the breakdown of impact into explosive because some of the explosions are doing insane damage, so kind of breaking that down means that there's a component where you could potentially dodge some of it, I guess. And there is also a world where you could just get hit by all of it and just be, totaled. But Blank, let's start with you. For Doorman, what do you think of the changes? Do you think he's strong? Do you think he's good? Do you think he's cheesy?
I think it's cheesy. I think it's cheesy as hell. But I think that he's a good type. He's a gooder type of cheese man.
Okay.
I think Doorman players who play him well are really good. And it's not always fun to play against them, but there is counterplay there for it, right? You can buy. I think one of the biggest counterplays that people don't buy into is buying Warpstone versus Doorman. Is once you get out the hotel, you instantly Warpstone. You hardly ever get hit by the cart after that, as long as you Warpstone straight away. And this is a really easy way to counter him outside of like counterspell, because I think a lot of people do go to counterspell as like, oh, that's how I deal with this. It's like not like Warpstone is insane. And a lot of Doorman is spacing. He doesn't do insane damage, like you say, with his call bell. I like that they increased the slow on tier 3 now, because there actually feels like a reason to upgrade it outside of stacking bells outside the hotel to explode them afterwards. Because I do think the current play right now is that you put 2 points into during lane, and then you max one of 3 things, which is doors, carts, or depending on what you want to do. If you want to be like an ult bot, you can max all. If you want to be a bit more CC spam, you max 3. If you want to be putting people in the base, you max 2. And I think Doorman's fine. I really do think Doorman's fine. I think he's in a good spot. Same case where you're saying, Jaeben, where I don't mind seeing Doormans in my game, because there's only a 1 in 5 chance any of them will do anything. Right? Okay. Yeah. I'll play against Doorman 1 in 5 times. I'll be like, this guy is insane. I am inside his base more than my own. And I just say, fair play. The guys learn the character. But a lot of times I won't even see Doormans use their doors, and that's okay.
Was it last episode, Jaeben, we talked about the doors still going into, we're going to call it Fountain Base, and was it last episode we were like,
it
seems a bit
was,
problematic.
yeah, we did talk about it, right? I mean, it still exists. I still think it should be gone. I just think there should be like a line, right? It should be like at the shrines or something is the deepest you can put it or something. I think it's just a good catch-all. I don't know. It just seems to me that it's just like a bit silly being able to push people into the base, like basically a guaranteed kill almost every time.
Yeah.
The fact that you can go from like base to mid boss is like ridiculous. Like as in like healing fountain, to mid boss is just like absurd. Literally cannot lose if you like set that up properly, right? There's a lot of silly stuff with it. I do think the changes are pretty good overall. I think he does a lot less damage with bells. He's kind of back to being a bit of a utility bot, which I think is okay. The character's very utility heavy.
Good spot
kind of speaks to some of the stuff I talk about a lot of the time, where I think characters that are utility heavy do too much damage, right? And some of them are getting pulled back. Abrams, I think, big example. Doorman again, like was doing crazy bell damage. Now the bells are back to being like tolerable, and it's very utility heavy. Would love to see that for some other characters, Viscous, maybe. Viscous could get that as well. Bebop, perhaps.
Okay,
maybe
cool.
Viscous.
Yeah.
Quite a few different suggestions I've just given there that maybe Yosh, you could take a look at,
Please.
Who knows?
Yeah, I think the fountain thing is interesting, because I think, honestly, if you remove the fountain tech in terms of doors into base, you would need to pull his numbers up elsewhere. I think making his bells scale better into late game wouldn't feel as bad, honestly.
Are you saying he's balanced around the idea of you sending your opponents into Fountain?
He's balanced around instant kills in the base. Yeah, that's right.
Right, okay. I'll write that down. Where's my glasses? I suppose maybe.
It's great. I mean, if you play, like I say, if you play against a good Doorman, he's going to do that. He can door from base to mid boss. In which case, that's an impossible fight for you and your team, because you're constantly cycling players in and out who just went to low HP or are now full HP. Very silly. It is very silly. And again, these are the types of things you don't see unless you play against a good Doorman. I don't know. I like skill expression in Deadlock. I really do.
I will say the elongation of a team fight for like a challenge of mid boss, where your opponent's team is just going back and forth through the doors to keep healing and then just coming back, feels unbelievably oppressive. It's not just we're going to send somebody through and kill them off in your fountain, But the fact that they can go back and just heal and come back and just heal if they actually, because they can't close the doors. The doors aren't destructible. You can't shoot the door and then it closes. No, that's not a thing. But anyway, we move on from Doorman because we've got some other stuff to cover. Drifter. This was only a quick change for the Quicksilver reload, dealing bonus multiple damage with Rend. But I guess, do we want to talk about how Drifter's still pretty good, or do you want to talk about how he's not good? Or
He just needs his ult changing. He needs his ult changing.
the duration on some of it
Drastically, dude. I think Jaeben said this the other day, and it's probably the best way I've heard anyone describe it, is that this is like the most broken CC in the game. I think I was even watching Ido talk about this and saying that his ult is currently the best ult in the game out of the entirety of the cast. And I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. It's an insanely strong ult.
You agree, Jaeben?
Yeah, it's very damning, right? They gave him a lot of like utility within it, but that doesn't feel like that's the part that changed. It felt like it was the same before, like the big sweeping patch, right? We were already having concerns with Drifters going duration, and then I mean, we've talked about it, right? It's a very unintuitive counterspell. It's not very easy to counterspell, but it also feels mandatory, especially if you're like an M1 hero or something. If you get blinded, that's it. You are effectively out of the fight for like, 14 seconds, especially mid-late game. There's just nothing you can do. Like, you can't walk up as an M1 hero completely blind and just hope that their CC heroes are like not looking. Like, you effectively just cannot interact that entire duration. It is incredibly, for such an easy button to press, like, basically no commitment, doesn't require him to do anything, right? Like, it is very, very harsh.
I think, what would be a cool way to do it is like, lightning scroll, the way it appears above your head and then you're struck by lightning. It would be cool for that to happen, because there is times where you don't even see the projectile come towards you on Drifter and you're just completely cut off from the world. I think that would be nice, where it has maybe a 1 second, the little eye is above your head, and then the eye closes, and then suddenly you put in darkness. But at least that would give you a proper time to counterspell, because I think unintuitive is a good way to put it there, is it is an unintuitive counterspell.
I completely agree with that. I mean, I think especially because it's a projectile that comes from him, right? There is just no... And it goes
Sometimes
through walls
wall.
and stuff. Like, there's no way to truly be sure exactly when the timing is. I think you basically have to react to the ball that I'm not even sure you can see from a certain range. You might already be blind. I don't know. I would actually love that. If that's the quality of life change they made, I think, I think as long as it felt consistently counterspellable, like Lash, right? I think Lash people deem nowadays to be not as much of a problem, because a consistent timing basically was found for his ult. Technically, he could play around it, but he has to kind of limit himself to do that. But everybody knows the timing. The whistle comes down, you press counterspell, you counter it, right? He either has to wait for that or play around that, right? That's the point of the item. If they're going to build a game where counterspell is your answer to these problems, like Drifter, there needs to be, like you say, some sort of animation that shows that timing. And even then, I think that's good, because like there's also times, right, where I've been with my team and like I'm near everybody, and I feel like I have to parry anyway, even if I don't know if I'm the target, just in case I am.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't know if you're the blind target. I think that's one of the biggest problems as well. You don't know if you're a blind target or not. So I think before I was saying, I know we've gone on about Drift a lot here, but before I was saying it's like, this is a great way to kill 3 counter spells on the enemy team. Well, no, it's actually a great way to kill 6, because 6 people need to all counterspell at the same time. I mean, if you don't counterspell, it doesn't go on cooldown, but you could get hit by something else in that moment, and suddenly your counterspell's gone. It's a tough one.
I'm sold. Someone pitch that. Get Yoshi on the line right now.
I'm going to pitch it. I'll pitch it after this. I'm in the forums right now. I'm in the forums right now.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad. Let's move on to Ivy, because, when we were talking about the patch notes, I was really glad that, there was going to be some decent movement towards, just kind of making supports. Anyway, what we did was we buffed some bullet damage on Ivy, and then we started to making some other changes here and there to put Ivy in the right place. Now, I hear from some people that they believe that Ivy might be one of the best heroes in the game. Jaeben, I'll come to you first. Do you agree with this assessment, or do you think that she's okay?
Yeah, this sub-duration Echo Shard build is not fun. Wow, that's cool. I don't know if you've been hit by that one yet. Stone form into grenade underneath you into stone form with Echo Shard. Wow, that's really cool.
Lovely.
I think it also, because it's not a direct chain, I think it doesn't get affected by like the stacking CC mitigation or anything. I feel like I get full duration every time. So it's basically like a 5-second lockdown, which is really cool and can hit multiple people in AoE, and almost certainly does if she's got like Vortex Web as well. So that's really, really gross. I don't really know what changed to make that a thing now and not before. Maybe you needed the bomb route to like lock it in. I don't know what. Maybe they increased the duration slightly, and I just forgot. I don't know what made people discover this build suddenly. But if they could stop doing that, that'd be really good.
Nice. Good assessment. Blank?
Honestly, bring back Gun Ivy, because it's less annoying.
Bring it back.
We're bringing it back. It's right there.
Yeah. the Livingstone's Tombstone vibe should have picked Ivy, because this character is insane, right? He's absolutely disgusting. I think that Kudzu connection getting nerfed slightly is a good thing, but it's only half the bonus if you aren't connected to an ally. The whole point is that Ivy was like she is right now the mercy of Deadlock. If you can pocket one of the strongest characters on your team, your M1, like a Geist or a Wraith, it's very hard to deal with that character because she provides so much healing. And we've seen in the past in terms of pro play, players aren't even building healing on some of these characters because Ivy does it all for them. I think a lot of people in my games that are playing Ivy also aren't taking advantage of the fact that even though before you had 2 tethers, so you'd want to select who the tethers were attached to then, now a lot of new people playing Ivy, they don't manually select the tether targets anymore. And I think you have to do that if you're playing Ivy. So if you're in the middle of a fight, you don't want to be tethered to the Bebop. He's doing nothing. You don't want to be tethered to the Kelvin. He's also doing nothing. You want to be specifically tethered to the Geist or the Wraith or the Infernus to make their lives as easy as possible. But yeah, she's strong. She's stupidly strong.
Yeah, mainly the Wraith. Just stick with your Wraith. Just pocket your Wraith. Well, anyway, so yeah, that is Ivy in a nutshell and how she's currently sat at. Let's talk about Lash quickly. Deathslam throws. Anything you want to talk about with Lash, or you think she's...
Really simple change, and a very fair change is that the Lash throw distance was too short. You couldn't put them in the right positions. You couldn't help follow up plays. And like Jaeben was saying before, this has an intuitive counterspell moment. So that when you do get a Lash off, you want it to feel impactful. I'm totally fine with it. As much as I hate Lash players, man, I hate them. I think that they were very fair to get this.
It's become more bearable over time, as Jaeben was mentioning before, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I think they deserve this change. They absolutely did deserve this change. I think it looked like, because I don't play it very often, I think it did look like it felt pretty bad beforehand. So I was quite pleased to see this. And also it scales the spirit power, so you're not getting these insanely long throws in the early game. It scales as the game goes on. So I like this change. I do like it.
Anything to add, Jaeben?
No, I think Blank's nailed it. Yeah. Good changes.
All right.
I think for a character that is kind of counterspell limited, right? So makes sense.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to a brand new segment of the podcast, which is was pitched just before by Blank, and it's called the tier list of your favorite heroes to play against. And guess what? We've got McGuinness here.
F tier.
F tier, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think about McGuinness, Blank?
This character's dumb. This character's really silly.
I love McGuinness.
All the changes are towards heavy barrage. And that's a problem, man, because right now McGuinness is just a heavy barrage bot. Once heavy barrage is offline, like, she's pretty useless, but it lasts so long in a fight that it doesn't matter, right? It does its entire job the entire time. I saw a funny meme where it was like me very far away, enemy team off the distance, me getting full impact on the fight. It's like, yes, it's just very silly. And then a lot of people be like, the counter play is to knockdown. Well, McGuinness is usually now built into unstoppable very early, which is a 5-second duration. So it's like there's 5-second duration of unmitigated damage, and she'll already have done about, I think you can get the 7.5k in a late game situation on that one ult in terms of damage, which is
on
ridiculous value.
Right?
On one person.
You think about it like that, you're looking at high 5 digits. If you hit a whole team.
It's very silly. It's very, very silly. And yeah, that's the 5-second duration where it's unstoppable. By that point in time, the support's already dead. You've got no knockdown available. and it's over. So yeah, I think, and that requires people to buy knockdown. If you don't have a support on your team, someone's got to be the knockdown sacrifice, and a lot of people just aren't doing that in lower reloads. Yeah.
So, Jaeben, would you like to fight against one turret-sized McGinnis with heavy barrage or 100 McGinnis turret? Anyway, I don't know. It's a tough one, huh?
I don't know. I think it's definitely problematic. Given that this character has been getting first picked in pro games, I think like that speaks alone to how stupid this is. Like, it's so good that you're picking a character that, for all intents and purposes, does not do a lot whenever the ult is down, but the ult is up, and that's basically, with any kind of lockdown, with any kind of engage, that's free kills. Like, I think, the numbers are obviously too high. That to me speaks enough, right? It's not even like a pub problem. It's like pro players are like, fuck the fact that this guy doesn't do anything else. We're first picking this, dude. Like, somebody is getting on this, and they are pressing heavy barrage, and we are going to win a fight every 80 seconds. And then you are going to put some turrets down and do nothing. And like it's like Blank said, right? I think the build nowadays is like 4.8k spirit into unstoppable, which is just, how does that make any sense? Like, that can't be a build, but the scaling is unbelievable. Like, it's like you get Mystic slow and you are never getting out of it. Like, the argument is like, oh, just get closer to her and she can't hit you. And it's like, but she now has like full stam control. She can jump and stuff in it nowadays. Like, it doesn't even work. Like, they gave her a better stamina bucket. Like, you can't even get close. She's just backpedaling at the same speed.
And if you do,
like,
she's just shooting into a wall and you're getting defeated by the wall at that point.
I'm having a great time, all right? If you could just stop treading on my fun as McGinnis Knives.
Have you even played much McGinnis this patch? I think you should get on it. This is your time.
Yeah, I have played a few games. I have been extraordinarily busy, so it's been difficult to get on games. I mean, even the radius decrease, I don't think is massive for what was actually going on in this patch, because you just have extra anyway if you have some haphazardly on some of your items. But anyway, that's McGinnis. That's the position that she currently sits in. As we take a look a little bit further down the list here to Mirage, Mirage is in an interesting spot because I feel like is he still like the lowest win rate hero, but not a whole lot changed to really put him in that position. Blank, where is he at?
But Mirage, I think a lot of people aren't too sure where to place Mirage right now, and a lot of people haven't solved him either. And some people are even saying he's unsolvable. He is a strong character with a lot of map presence, who is shooting at you for about 20 seconds, you've taken no damage, and then suddenly you just pop and die.
Love that.
I think that he's in a weird spot right now. They did a lot of sweeping changes to him, and I think Mirage is going to continue to receive changes because at the moment, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think one quality of life change that a lot of people want, and I'd want as well, is a specific damage counter for Jin's mark, right? At the moment, it just says, I've got 2 marks, I've got 4 marks. I'd like for it to say, you have 4 marks, you're about to take 560 damage. Yeah,
you are dead.
You are dead.
Big sign.
Yeah. And that way I know, like, oh, probably should counterspell this. I'm about to die. Or even just DBR it. So, yeah, I think Mirage is in a weird spot where I don't think they know what they want this character to be yet. Is he a spirit character? Is he a gun character? Is he a util character? I think the majority of times when he's been played in pro play, it has just been as a Dust Devil bot where you buy Echo Shard and you just immobilize people over and over, which also makes sense. But I'm not sure. I'm not really sure on Mirage right now. I don't think he's been solved unlike a lot of other characters. I think that Abrams is one of those characters to receive a lot of changes. People are starting to solve that character now as well. Where it's like, oh, we can't build him as much gun anymore. But what we can do is start building Witchmail and superior duration, range on him, and just play as like a frontline healer that just doesn't die and has a lot of utility in terms of the spam of shoulder charge. I think that's cool. I think Listic came up with that and it works very, very well. He's not one-shotting people anymore, but he definitely has a cool frontline role. But for Mirage, people don't know.
Anything to add, Jaeben, on that?
I think Mirage definitely feels like the hero I've seen the most complaints about recently, just in terms of his identity. Like, just his kit not really flowing, not really making sense. Even, like, his design / like, character design versus kit. Like, he's got, like, the bodyguard label people keep pointing out, and everyone is like, what did you mean by this? Like,
He stands next to you and takes the bullet for you. I don't know what he's doing.
Like, yeah, at best he ults to someone and they die as he arrives, and he goes, "Well, I did my job. I did my work."
Yeah.
But yeah, it is in a weird place. I do feel like he'd kind of like carved out this like position 1 main carry identity again recently. And then I feel like, they pulled back a lot of the gun damage and they put it all into the spirit, and now it feels really strange because it's like Blank says, right? You're building 4.8k spirit first. You're basically shooting people for like literally 0 damage. Like you are actually doing like, it feels like 40 or 50 a hit. It's just like not even relevant. And then suddenly you pop them with max stacks, especially at max Jin's mark, and it's like 1500 damage out of nowhere. But it doesn't feel good because like it feels good when you get the pop, but that entire lead up to it, like you're shooting them for like 12 seconds and doing nothing. It's
That's exactly what's going on.
The health bar's moved this much. Yeah, it's very silly.
And you're going, it's gonna come. I can't wait, and you're just waiting for that next fix, But that whole interim period is just not enjoyable at all. It truly is like the withdrawal of Jin's mark. Like I'm just waiting for that next big Jin's mark proc.
Hey. Do you also have that situation where you shoot Jin's mark and you can't even see what stack you've got?
I think I don't think I've ever known how many stacks I have. Like,
I just know that
hoping.
it's approaching. Because I feel like the number should pop up in like big letters and then fade back down. So it's like 2 and then 4.
Ginormous.
That would be nice.
Bang.
Make it massive, neon. I'm blind as a bat. I need this.
Give me a cue.
Yes.
Give me a cue.
All right, that's Mirage. There are gentlemen. There are many mysteries in this world. 1 is, where is the city of Atlantis? Where has it gone? 2 is, what are the pyramids for? And 3 is, has Mo and Krill ever died in a game of Deadlock? That's my question to you guys. And as much as there were some kind of pullbacks a little bit on things like Scorn and stuff, you know what? It still feels to me, Jaeben, that Mo and Krill is pretty good in this video game. What do you think?
Yeah, it felt like it was going to be better, right? It still feels like they're pretty good. Yeah. I don't know. I think it feels like this is just where they want them. Like, they got buffed up a lot. It feels like they brought back, it's probably like, 10% more than where it used to be before the sweeping changes. Like, but, I've heard Blank talk about this as well. The lane phase of Mo and Krill just feels so uninteractive because Mo wins the lane not by killing people, not by like running them down. He kills the lane by taking some damage. Like you trade like 50% of Mo's life for like 10% of yours, and you go, nice, that was a good trade. And then he goes under the ground. He walks into the wave with you and your ally. He presses Scorn, and he goes right back to full HP. And then suddenly you took like 20% with the Scorn, and he took 0. And you go, okay, I guess my bad. Like
the trade was bad actually.
Shouldn't have traded that one. Sorry, everybody. Like and that's just kind of what he does. And like I guess he's just the immovable rock, and that's kind of where we are with it. Like you really have to try to die with Mo and Krill. You really got to give a good effort. But I don't know. It definitely took down his like timings for his ult. Like like it's they gave it the tier 2 cooldown reduction back a bit, but it still feels like it's longer, so there's less ult uptime in the early game. But I do still feel like he's just getting he's getting all the souls somehow every game and just being an unkillable behemoth. So
he's a strong boy. Blank?
He is indeed. I mean, for Mo and Krill, though, I actually don't mind playing against him as much anymore. And again, I think that there is a reasonable solution to play against Mo and Krill, and it is egg, right? You buy the golden goose egg, and you don't interact with the lane. You just try and wait it out. Yeah, he's going to have kill pressure on you when he gets his ult, but you can just space him. And I think that's the main thing about Mo and Krill's. That you're not going to get that warp zone until a little bit later in the game, so you can just space him out and just play a very, very passive lane against him. I also like they took the 60 DPS off the tier 2 and put that onto the tier 3 instead, because, oh my god, that was a nuclear bomb at 10 minutes into the game. So yeah, I'm glad that they changed that. I think Mo and Krill right now, I think he's actually in a good spot. He still can win games for you, but it's nowhere near to the extent it was before.
I would say he like fits that idea better, where it's like he's very utility heavy, but it doesn't feel like he kills people very often, unless he really is getting a lot.
Yeah, he's trying.
Like,
yeah,
he's giving it his best effort, but yeah, he doesn't really have that level of damage now, especially that they took the damage from the ult tier 2. So I agree. I think it's a good spot, but it is very oppressive to play against still. Like it is pretty grisly feeling. He'd be low on the tier list. Like I wouldn't be having him up there in the fun tier, like.
Okay, all right, yeah, good to know. Paradox pulse grenades does half damage to objectives. I mean, double bombs if they were ripping apart objectives, fair play. leave that by the wayside and we move on from Paradox. Still good for damage, still good for picks with swap, etc. and things like that. Pocket, all focused on Affliction here in changes that did come along. Pocket kind of just, again, I've always said Pocket feels like one of the most complete kits, feels kind of like a mainstay here. Blank, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Pocket's in a great spot. I think for Pocket, it's like, it's early to mid game, can make a lot of plays. Then, yeah, you do become a bit of an Affliction bot towards the end game, but that's fine. You still do a lot of damage with move abilities. I think Pocket has the most consistent and reliable way to shut down healing on the enemy team, which I do think they need more characters like this. They absolutely need more characters like this, because the moment it's like, if you watch Night Shift or Death Slam events...
is he the only one?
The only one has 100% shutdown on heals, because Affliction completely denies healing. But I think that they need more characters like this in the future where you have other options. I think right now there's a lot of times people just don't buy Healbane, they don't buy Toxic Bullets, and you play against a team that all heals, and they just run rampant. I think when draft does eventually get released in the far, far future from now, I'm not holding out hope, they will need more characters like this to give options. Yeah, I've given up.
We wanted it ages ago. It's gone. Jaeben, your thoughts?
I think it's nice to have Pocket back a bit. I think these changes were good overall. Like we talked about last time, kind of hit some of the things like the cloak cooldown, right? You have to be a little bit more, cerebral with your engage timings and stuff like that. Like it's not as straightforward. The Affliction is still pretty strong, especially at tier 3. It's good. I think it's nice. Yeah, I think Pocket disappeared from the meta for a little bit compared to some of the other characters. I think having Pocket back is nice. I think it's a very flashy, high skill character. It's always fun to watch.
All right, and then we've got 7 coming up as well. It feels like
nothing burger.
not too much at all. It does feel like he's chasing me a bit more when he's storm clouding, and I just slowly meander around another corner and stay there for a little bit longer, I guess. Let's move on to Shiv, and I have a question, Jaeben. Am I still feeling... Actually, I'll have a question and I'll answer it myself. Am I still feeling like I'm randomly dying to some knives from 600 yards away because of the ticks that I've not seen Shiv for about 10 seconds and I'm still dying anyway? The answer is yes, despite this cooldown change. What do you think?
Turns out this cooldown change didn't affect the damage at all. What the
Crazy.
heck? Like,
I hate this.
I'm appalled. Yeah, no, it's still very obnoxious. I don't know. I guess he's got to exist somehow. If he didn't have knives, I guess he would do nothing.
Currently, I guess.
Yay, but like, I don't know. I think I'd still rather this like 2 shredding build, like slice and dice shredding build was emphasized a bit more than this like really grim knife build. Kind of the same thing. I think maybe, bleeds should be more obvious. It is the same thing as like that Jin's mark that we talked about, right? If it was like clear, the bleed on your bar, like something with bloodletting, right? If every character had like that bloodletting effect on their bar when they have like a knife in them, that might be nice. And then I could know that I'm 100% dead and I should not keep fighting. But like, it is one of these like hidden damage things where, you look up at the end of a fight, you had 1,000 health, you look at your buffs, debuffs, oh, I've got 4 knives, oh, it turns out I'm dead. Like, my fault.
Yeah.
Like, it is a bit gruesome.
Fine.
No, I think nailed that. To be honest with you, I think they needed to decrease a little bit of demonstrated knives, but I'm glad that they changed Killing Blow slightly, because before that felt like it was just in the bin. I'm glad they increased the range on it. I think this is an iconic ability that needs to stay in the limelight, and I think this does change it, but it's cool.
Move on to Silver. Like and Curse, feels like they cannot decide what the cooldown is going to be on this ult. It doesn't surprise me too much, Jaeben, because it's definitely it's an unusual ult that charges up compared to some of the other ults, right? So trying to find that exact balance, I kind of understand why they go back and forth.
I think she did kind of bungee jump, right? She went all the way down when they brought the cooldown up, and then her win rate came back up again when they brought it down a little bit. So, I mean, there must be something to this, right? Where it's just the accessibility of Lycan, which makes sense. Her whole kit is kind of based around, from a point, it's like land the bowler, like hit the 2, shoot the shotgun blast, and then and chase them down, right? That's just like the play pattern. So when the cooldown was way higher, it just didn't work anymore, right? So I think, it is like these small number changes. Makes sense to me that they have a big impact on her overall win rate. I think she feels pretty fine right now. I think nothing really to say. I don't think she needs to be any better or worse. I think she's, again, like a character that's in a pretty good balance state.
Consensus, Blink?
I've got nothing to add. I think that's a good roundup, honestly.
Victor, who was having some issues on the streets on the cursed apple. Mr. Blank, I'll start with you. Do you think this made much of a change, or do you think Victor is a strong boy?
It's made a change. To be honest with you, I think that Victor will never be in a good spot. I don't think everyone will be in a good spot. It's just
true.
It's just his character designs. I think Jaeben was saying you buff him, he becomes one of the most broken characters on the server. You nerf him, it becomes basically something you can ignore. I think it's going to be very hard for them to get to a point where you can actually properly balance this guy. It might come with reworks in the future, but right now he is the stat checker of the lobby. That's all he is. I think it's a little bit boring in my opinion. I'm not sure how it would change him. I'd really have to think about it, but all these changes basically just made him weaker. But most people know he's a kit anyway. There's nothing that was like, oh, he plays differently now. No, he's a worse version of himself. Yeah.
Yeah. And just going like that's what he does. Jaeben?
Yeah, I was trying to think what they did with Wraith King in Dota to kind of help alleviate this, because Wraith King's had his periods where he was really, really good, and obviously it's quite a similar kit from a fundamental sense. Like, you know, it is a hard carry that farms a lot and then has the revive. I know Wraith King probably had his most success in competitive, I think, was much more of a CC engager using the stun, right? And that was kind of more what he was played as, and the revive like let him get up and get more cooldown uptime, and that felt like it was a healthy way for it to function. But obviously, like, I think part of Wraith King's thing is he has very high mana costs, and his ult requires mana. So if you don't have the mana to revive, you can't come back, and that's not really a fundamental here that exists. So yeah, I think that's just where it is. Like, I don't know. Victor is like, I've had games where he just runs over the game, even this patch, and games where he's just like completely invisible. It just feels like it is very feast or famine, and it is going to be very hard to get it right. And yeah, it either is too good or it's just awful. It's tough to decide.
I think you bring up a really interesting, obviously, balancing tool, which is mana, which we just don't have, right? So I guess the next common thing that relates to it is cooldown, but even that doesn't really address the same issue that exists here. So they don't have some of these levers to be able to pull in Deadlock, but that's where Victor is for now. Vindicta gets one change fix, not gaining bonus damage if you proc a bonus with a killing blow. Anything from this, Mr. Blank?
Good for her.
Cool.
Excellent.
She's still shooting things. I still see her more in my games than I used to, like, because I barely ever saw her for a little while there, but she's around, Jaeben.
She's back a little bit, yeah. The aim hacks are installed again. We ride.
That's true.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
We ride again.
I was hoping she'd make a little more sense, I guess, but she still feels a bit too up in the air, like what you're meant to build, what you're meant to play. Like, it doesn't really feel like it has enough to it. I think she did get picked a little bit in like Fight Night and stuff. So Night Shift, sorry. Ooh.
Jeez.
Dead naming it.
I think. I don't know. Just always gonna be a bit of a weird character, just based off the kit. I think doesn't really farm well enough to be a full carry. Doesn't quite have like it's still very damage heavy, so it doesn't really feel like a support. It's a bit of a strange design that doesn't really feel like it fits in the game fully right now.
I really enjoyed seeing the clips of people pausing and lining up the sniper shot as well. That was silly and stupid, and hopefully this never happens ever again. Anyway, we got Viscous, who is clearly in an interesting state at the moment. Which is a fluid, gelatinous. Blank, what do you think about Viscous? You said that you got absolutely stomped when you were trying to learn him via the Celeste.
Yeah, I think Viscous is basically Valve's dream of a character. I think that this was when he could also play gun as well, because I think that originally the way every character was designed, which is why they had to have such sweeping changes, they could do everything and be every class, right? Which would be that gun, spirit, tank, frontliner, etc. Assassin. And I think for Viscous, he does everything so well is that they have some trouble like toning him down. But I think where they want to have him is that you have two like predominant roles, which is you play, or maybe three, is you play like support Viscous with the cube, you play punch Viscous with his 3, and you play ball Viscous with obviously the ball. But I think that's fine. You can also play Splatter if you want to. He does everything very well. I think all of his kit is very strong. I think right now the biggest problem, because I'm not going to talk about all the builds, but I think the biggest problem right now is the permastun. That is doable. Straight bouncing on it. You know, Goober showed it was possible. Now it's happening in all my games, and I think that the permastun is a problem, right?
For sure.
Before there was a case where like there was some skill involved, but now the only skill really involved is can you cancel out momentum on Goo Ball, which doesn't take long. I mean, I learned to do it in about 30 minutes. It doesn't take long to learn. Obviously, in game, it's a lot harder to put into practice than it is in like just sandbox. But I think once you get someone into that loop, it's like all you have to do is just do the same thing over and over again because they're not changing it. Before, it was a case they could get out from the stun, then you had to reposition the dribble. And very skilled players could do that and effectively achieve the same thing. But you could at least escape the safety now. Now it's too easy. So yeah, I do think that needs to get changed on Viscous. But other than that, I'm happy with everything else. I think that melee the punch doesn't feel as oppressive anymore. I wish there was a slightly longer cooldown between punches because getting punched repeatedly is ridiculous.
Yeah. Jaeben?
Yeah. I still think Kaelaris does too much damage for what it brings to the game. I think, I would love to see them push it and like just accept that like this is like another Abrams-esque character. He can have all this utility, but he cannot do this much damage, I think, simultaneously. I think that's my problem with it. And he's also very, very safe, I'm sure we've all played against the Viscous split pushing one tricks who know like the 6 puddle punches to get you from one side of the map to the other. And believe me, when you try to collapse on them, they will show you them. And like, they are gone.
Look
like
at my
you had no chance to ever kill them. They were already, it was like a 6 puddle punch combo that went from like one corner of the map to the other that they spent 17 hours practicing nightly.
I love that. Bouncing around like Flubber.
Truly, yeah. I don't know. I just think does too much damage. Another quality of life thing kind of in this area I'd like to see is I would like some sort of indicator when there's a punch if it's close to you. I don't know if that's like too good. Like just
maybe.
like I'm thinking like an arrow, right? I don't think it'd be an arrow, but it would be like, like
where it's coming from.
Some sort of indicator that like it's behind me. Because I feel like there's a lot of times where like I have to parry not knowing if it's going to hit me, not knowing where it's going to hit me. Yeah,
sure.
But it's like not even just auto cue. It's auto cue, and it's like sometimes I don't even know there's an angle that I could be hit at, right? So intuitively, I think like I don't have to parry here. I'm not in range to get hit. And then you get hit by like the last pixel of like this obscure angle that like sends you a mile, and you're like, well, okay, my fault, I guess. And it's like, yeah, just parry kind of thing, but
so. It feels like that could work if, like, they program it in such a way that says, okay, this is the cone in which it's going to hit, and you get the radial that, like, when you're in FPS games and you get shot and it's like it shows you the direction it's coming from. If you were in that, and that kind of pops, I think that would actually that would work really nically because then you'd be like, okay,
too much of a baby, right? Maybe that makes it too bad, and like everybody's parrying it all the time. Like, maybe it's too much, babification, but.
Maybe.
I don't like
it. All right. Well, 2 more heroes to go. So let's move on to Warden, who feels in a weird spot at the moment, does poor little Warden. Feels a little bit by the wayside for me. But what do you think, Blank? I'll start with you.
I think Echo Shard silence build is really annoying.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah, never mind.
I don't enjoy playing against that.
Echo Shard item's kind of annoying, guys. I don't know, like.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't make sense.
Hey, man. I mean, I was the one I lobbied against Echo Shard way back in the day, like year and a half ago. Okay. I was like, I don't think this item should. I think that it used to work on literally the previous ability of anything you used. So if you hooked and you Echo Shard, it would Echo Shard the hook. If you bombed and you Echo Shard, it would Echo Shard the bomb.
Yes.
At least now you have to imbue it, I suppose. But most characters have one ability they want to imbue.
They want to imbue, yeah.
Let's imbue the hook instead of the bomb on Bebop. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I don't mind Echo Shard too much. I think it does make some builds work. That one is particularly problematic though, with the amount of time that it can waste on you, because I think it's what it amounts to is you buy a 6.4K for essentially upwards of an 8-second silence, which is crazy. So what you need, but I think the big problem is that you can dispel magic the first one, then you get the second one put on you, but you're still silenced, and you cannot counterspell the initial cast because it's point and click.
Sure.
So there's no way to, there's no counterplay to the second cage. I think that's the biggest issue right now, is that Warden is going to get a cage on you no matter what you do.
Anything to add, Jaeben? Or can we breeze over? Same.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's in a weird spot. It feels like this, like, kind of like, roaming utility Warden is sort of making a comeback.
Cheesy.
Still a lot of gun items in general I've seen in most games, but not carrying quite as hard as like a gun carry. I don't know. I think he's like a cool design in theory, but yeah, still kind of getting solved, and the cage does seem particularly obnoxious. So.
Yeah. All right, and let's end on everyone's favorite rework that's never hit anybody with any of these new cards and had a great time. It's good old Wraith that still feels unbelievably powerful. Jaeben, what's your thoughts about Wraith, and are you pocket healing her like Blank is?
I don't know, yeah, it still feels pretty disgusting. Haven't pocket healing on myself, but I have been getting killed, and that's been really fun. I've played characters that are like slightly bulkier, right? Like Silver, for example. And I've just had times where I get ulted, Wraith has saved all 4 cards, and I just die. And I'm like 100% HP. And I go, that's kind of crazy. Because, you can't use any movement abilities, you get no stamina. It's impossible to miss the cards. And the cards, it's like, at that once you get like your ult online, it's like 4 cards is like 800 damage, right? Like especially if you've got like jokers and stuff. Like I don't know. I think it's like the same thing. I need like a big neon sign alerting me to like whatever cards she has. Like this tiny icon isn't doing it for me, man. Like somehow Blank always spots it with his like eagle eyes, but I never see
what
what
a master.
No, because
and I'm dead. Like,
do you know what? The only reason I know she's got jokers is because there's a specific sound cue.
Yes.
It's like a
Oh,
really?
It's different. Yes.
It's a and I got really annoyed in lane one time because this Wraith I played against had 5 jokers back to back, and I was like, "This is so unfair."
Get me out of here!
It's literally RNG'd out of control. That was very frustrating.
The odds, casino character. The design.
But there was for her. Whoever was playing that character, I bet that was such a cool like hero fantasy moment for them. It's like 5 jokers back to back. That how do you lose that lane? You just don't. Again, I think that Deadlock. I think Wraith is part of a bigger problem in Deadlock, which is scaling characters that there is nothing you can do against. There is absolutely there's no counterplay to Wraith ult right now because it is point and click. You cannot dispel magic afterwards because it is a ult debuff. You cannot counterspell until afterwards because there is no opportunity to. The only thing that can happen is if someone is so kind to buy Divine Barrier and Divine Barrier you after you've been ulted. No. That's the only thing you can do. But because of that, she scales way harder than any other character in the game. Not only that, just because of her gun damage, her 3, the cards doing a bunch of damage late game, and her being almost hybrid damage. If you ever get into a situation where all the Wraith has done is just farm and farm and farm, and you're in a sort of even game, you're slightly ahead, doesn't matter, that Wraith is likely going to carry the late game. And this is the case for a lot of other scaling carries as well. I think it's very unfun to play against when literally that player has just done PvE for the majority of the game and won off the back of that.
Any thoughts on that, Jaeben, as we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, that's just hard carries, I guess. But yeah, I do think it is particularly obnoxious, especially with the new design of telekinesis. I do think it's like, like initially I was thinking like, oh, this seems worse, like, oh, I don't like that it's point and click again, but it seems like it is less value. But yeah, the fact that it kills, I think it should at least like reduce stamina, like distance or something, right? Like lower your regen. I just think it's crazy that you could be full health, full stamina, get ulted, and it's like you have no resources.
You've got
just
nothing.
Die.
Yeah,
like it is crazy.
Yeah, it's brutal to deal with. Well, gentlemen, bang! That's a wrap here for this patch. We've got places to be. Jaeben, where can people find you throughout the next week before we come back for episode 6?
Yeah, you can find me at Jaeben _ most platforms, Twitch, Twitter, all that good stuff. And say it with me, everybody. Fuck Bebop. See you next week.
Whoa! Yeah, he's streaming all the Pokemons at the moment. It's really cool and fun to watch. Blank, where can we find you? What are you up to?
You can find me on Blankcast at most platforms as well. I'm just chilling, having a good time. We're vibing. We'll be doing some more Hyperline stuff in the future.
Yes, we will. And my name's Kaelaris. You can find me currently doing PGS, which is all the PUBG Global series that's going on throughout these next couple of weeks, at Adama and Kale for all our retro gaming videos. And make sure to follow the Hyperline. And all say it with me. I love Rem. No, never mind. All right. That does it for episode 5. I tried my very best. That was our breakdown of the most recent patch, even though it was 8 days ago. And I'm sure that as soon as we drop this episode, there's going to be another patch right tomorrow, or as you are listening to this. So we'll break that down next week for more Hyperline.
Push the notes.
Now!